Hello and welcome back. I'm back. It's been a little while, but I am once again here to talk about a thing that I would like to talk about. So I know a lot of people have already reviewed this movie, but I also want to, because this movie is just so atrociously bad that I have to. So, War of the Worlds 2025. It is a masterpiece of terrible cinema. It is truly beautiful, and it sucks. And I am very aware of the fact that, hate watching and rage baiting is currently a very valid marketing technique. You make something so bad on purpose that a bunch of people binge watch it and then talk about it for months, and it gives you a bunch of free promotion. So I tend to avoid engaging with things that seem to be bad on purpose, because then they win. But I don't think that that is the case with this movie, interestingly enough. The director has done interviews and seems very confused by why everybody is so negative about this film. And that fascinates me, because I cannot conceive of a timeline in which this movie was good. So, fun fact about me, War of the Worlds is actually one of my favorite books. I haven't read it all the way through in a number of years, but back in 8th or ninth grade, I had a pretty major fixation on it. I was in my War of the Worlds phase, if that's a thing that you can have. So just the fact that there was a new adaptation coming out intrigued me on some level. Obviously, I didn't expect it to be good, because all remakes that come out now are terrible, but I did not expect it to be as bad as it was. And I think that a lot of people were caught off guard by how bad it was. And that's why there's so many people talking about it right now. But before we get into the movie, I am a fan of the source material, so I would like to summarize it for you in case you don't know that much about it, or if you just like to hear me talk, which I hope is the case if you're watching this video. Alright, so this book was published in 1898. And basically, there are Martians from Mars. They've been watching humans for decades, and intend to descend to Earth and take over our planet for the resources that Earth has, because they've used up all the resources on Mars, and now they want ours. So the Martians are really fun in War of the Worlds. They're like these weird, squishy, boneless octopus creatures. And because they evolved in much lower gravity than what we have on Earth, they can't really walk around. They just kind of ooze across the ground like an octopus would when taken out of the water. Back on Mars, apparently they could walk around upright on their tentacles, like Squidward, but they can't do that here. So it's a little bit funny that these are super advanced aliens come to, destroy the Earth, and that they're just kind of oozing around on the ground. But luckily they don't really need to walk, because they have gigantic robots that they pilot, which are the iconic, Martian tripods with 3 legs that walk around and blow things up with death lasers. So they basically just absolutely destroy everything. And humans are virtually defenseless. I think throughout the entire book, humans managed to take down 1 tripod, and that's it. They are way beyond any technology that we could have. They are just absolutely wrecking shit. Much like me, the Martians are also vampires. They drink blood, and they actually go around hunting humans and putting them in cages that they keep underneath the tripods, and will occasionally lower this needle tentacle in there and suck one dry. It's pretty wild for 1898, honestly. There is a strong implication that if they had succeeded in taking over Earth, they would have domesticated and farmed humans as livestock, which is terrifying to think about. So the book follows an unnamed narrator who is basically just trying to survive this post-invasion apocalypse, and, taking notes about the Martians and their biology and what's going on in the country along the way. And it's very good. If you have not read it, you should. I mean, it's a foundational work of science fiction. It's good. You should read it. It makes me very sad that that book ultimately inspired this movie. Alright, so long story short, it turns out that the Martians do not have any immunity to Earth diseases. So they all eventually get infections and die. Which is actually a great ending, in my opinion. Like, the idea that humans, which are supposedly the most powerful and advanced species on Earth, couldn't defeat these creatures, but the smallest, simplest life forms on the planet could, is both incredibly humbling and kind of reminds us of our own place in the world, because at the end of the day, we are at the mercy of bacteria and viruses, even if that's something that we don't think about very often. Alright, but this is completely irrelevant to this video because none of that shit happens in this movie. So, the movie opens with ya boy, Ice Cube, who is like a spy, but he's like a desk job spy. His job seems to consist entirely of just like watching security camera and drone footage from around the city and like just monitoring people and seeing what they're up to. This is integral to the plot of the movie, but I cannot stress how creepy it is, and it never stops being creepy. That he's just like casually like watching people live their lives, like in their homes. He has like cameras in people's homes and he's watching them. It's really weird. It seems like there is constant live stream footage of every corner of the city, and he has access to all of it. I have no frame of reference for how accurate this is because I don't do like smart fridges and shit, and I don't live in a city. But are there just constantly like drones following you around in a city? Because that's the vibe that I'm getting from this. Luckily for the population of this city, Ice Cube does not seem to be that great at his job because he spends most of his time just like stalking his adult children. Also, I'm going to be referring to him as Ice Cube. That's not his character's name, but he's Ice Cube. It's really weird. He's shown as being this super obsessive guy who's watching his kids' every move because he just wants to be in their lives and keep them safe. But you can see in the background of one shot, there's like text messages to his daughter, and she's like, "Hey, can you drive me to the hospital?" And he's like, "No." So simultaneously just like up their ass 24/7, but also not interested at all in like spending any time with them. Anyway, now that we've established who this character is, a weirdo, I think it's important to address one of the most batshit crazy aspects of this movie. This was all filmed during 2020, when everybody was in quarantine. So none of these characters ever interact. They are all on Zoom with each other. This is an action sci-fi thriller that is shot entirely from the point of view of a man sitting in his office sending emails. Which, like, props to being creative, I guess. I can't think of any other movies in this genre that are filmed like that, but I think maybe there's a reason. Okay, so the invasion happens. Meteors start falling out of the sky, and suddenly Ice Cube's computer is just, like, flooded with all these news feeds and reports from all over the world. The meteors haven't even landed yet, and there's already news broadcasts. It's all so fast. This movie has insane pacing, okay? Like, the meteors have not even touched down yet, and already all the world leaders have declared a state of emergency. All of the action scenes in this movie happen so lightning fast. There's like 500 things happening in 1 second. And then the movie will like slow to a crawl so Ice Cube can like text his coworker for a password, and it takes like 30 full seconds of screen time. I have no concept whatsoever of how much time this movie is supposed to take place over. Like, the action sequences seem like they would be taking place over the course of like weeks or months, but like the story with Ice Cube and his family seems to be happening in real time. Like, the hour and a half of this movie is how much time has actually passed in real life. And I have no clue if that's supposed to be accurate or not, but I think it is. The moment the first of the alien tripods, like, emerge from the crater is really funny, because Ice Cube just looks at it and goes, "God damn." Almost like he's impressed. Like, is that really how you would react if an alien just, like, showed up in your city and started, like, blasting people with lasers? Also, I wasn't going to talk about the special effects in this movie because it felt like low-hanging fruit. Like, this is clearly not a super high-budget film, but it looks bad, I'm sorry. Do you guys remember the 2005 War of the Worlds? That shit looked awesome. This obviously isn't just a problem with this movie, but I think that it does offer a very good comparison of, like, the downgrade that movies have had over the last few decades. Like, if you watch the 2005 War of the Worlds and the 2025 War of the Worlds, it is incomprehensible to me that the 2025 one came out after the 2005 one, because it looks so much worse. Like, I remember being a kid and watching movies, and it just, like, blew my fucking mind that everything looked so realistic and so lifelike, and I was like, wow, imagine what movies are going to look like in, like, 10 or 20 years compared to, you know, what movies looked like 10 or 20 years ago. We're not even going to be able to tell the difference between, like, special effects and real life anymore. And now cut to 20 years later and everything looks infinitely worse. Okay, so aliens are attacking. It's chaos. Ice Cube is sending a bunch of emails. He's talking to a bunch of people over Zoom. Classic action movie stuff. The President of the United States of America calls Ice Cube on Zoom and declares that every nation in the world has joined forces to fight this War of the Worlds. He said it. He said the name of the movie. There's this montage of every army on Earth, like, mobilizing and deploying against the aliens. There's, like, an inexplicable voiceover narrating it all. Fighter jets are taking off. People are shooting machine guns. Bombs are blowing up. The tripods are getting taken down. Yeah, I guess we can do that. Like, they don't have any counter technology or force fields or anything. We're just, like, killing them. That's cool. But the funny part is that all of this seems to happen in the course of, like, 10 minutes. Like, Ice Cube's daughter gets into a car, okay, before the president declared war. Every military on Earth is deployed and blowing up aliens, and all this crazy action is happening. And then Ice Cube's daughter arrives at her destination down the road and gets out of the car. That was fucking quick. So Ice Cube's daughter's boyfriend is an Amazon worker, and unfortunately this is integral to the plot, so keep it in mind. But Ice Cube's daughter gets hurt, and her boyfriend takes packing tape and, like, tapes her leg up. Packing tape. Like, and then that's perfectly fine. The injury is healed, I guess, and it's never mentioned again, and the bleeding stops, and it's great. I hope I don't have to say this, but please do not put packing tape on an open wound, because do you know what's going to happen when the doctor takes the tape off to, like, properly bandage it? It's gonna rip her fucking wound back open because it sticks to things. Alright, but none of that matters because this is when the movie really gets insane. We finally get to the big twist, okay? The aliens aren't here to steal Earth's resources or eat people or any of that shit. They're here to download our data. This is not really explained further. They keep saying that the aliens eat data and never really specify what kind of data they want. And they're shown stealing both, like, classified military documents and Ice Cube's Facebook memories. So I think it's just literally anything that has ever been uploaded to the internet, the aliens want. The use of the word data in this movie very much feels like an almost meaningless buzzword that's just, like, kind of meant to conjure to our minds, like, all that stuff that, you know, companies and the government collect on us. You know what we mean, right? We don't have to explain it any further. It's also not explained why the aliens couldn't just steal that remotely. Like, they have intergalactic travel and the ability to manipulate the weather, but they can't, like, hack a database from their spaceship. Also, I cannot stress enough how much this lowers the stakes, especially compared with the book. Like, in the book, the aliens want to eat us and take over our planet. And in this one, they just want to, like, what, download my Google Drive? I don't even know if that's even worth getting worked up over. Like, I would be upset if aliens stole all of my writing projects, but I don't know that I would be willing to die for it. These aliens really don't even seem that interested in hurting us. Like, they don't have a problem with it. We see them blowing people up left and right, but it seems more like they view us as an obstacle to get to what they really want, which is the internet. One of the scientist characters, who is named Sandra NASA, by the way, she does not have a last name. Her last name is NASA. She finds out that inside the tripods are all these little, like, nanobot type creatures, and she's just, like, hanging out with them. They're, like, crawling all over her, not hurting her. She's, like, handling them without gloves. They don't give a shit about her. They just want to get to her phone. Call me crazy, but I think that I would be willing to just let them have that. Like, I think maybe we should just give them our data, rather than sacrificing countless lives to try to protect, what, Twitter? Like, if that's literally all they want and then they'll go home, I'd be more than happy to give them my phone. I hope my Tumblr posts taste good. Anyway, the aliens want to eat our data, and they're converging on all the biggest data centers in the world to slurp it all up, or whatever. And this is when we find out that the government knew that these aliens existed. Like, they'd known for decades. There's been prior contacts and cover-ups. Skinwalker Ranch is involved somehow. But the government still decided to collect and store all of this data on people for, like, surveillance purposes. And they knew that it would eventually cause an invasion, and they did it anyway. And the guy who was, like, responsible for making this call is, like, acting really smug about it, like he still has the upper hand somehow, and it's like, how? Like, yeah, it was beneficial for you to collect that data before, but, like, what are you gonna do now that aliens are stealing it all? Doesn't matter, I guess, because the most important servers are 40 feet underground. And everybody knows that aliens can't go underground. Multiple times throughout this movie, different people say something to the effect of, our data is our most valuable resource. So I think that's, like, the thesis of this movie. Like, yeah, our most valuable resource isn't water, or a breathable atmosphere, or any of the other life-sustaining properties of Earth that might make it interesting to aliens. Our most valuable data is your Google search history. Yes, yours specifically. I don't know what you've been Googling lately, but the aliens are really into it. I don't know what terminally online lunatic made this movie, but they're acting like the aliens eating our data is going to, like, destroy human society and, like, send us back to the Stone Age. We have to protect our valuable data from the aliens or all of humanity will be destroyed. I understand that due to how everything in the world is currently, like, hooked up to the internet, it would obviously be a big problem in the short term if, like, aliens wiped all of our servers clean. But society would survive. Humans would survive not having access to the internet anymore, I promise. And, like, even after the aliens have supposedly, like, taken down all the servers on Earth, and, like, airplanes are falling out of the sky and nuclear power plants are offline, all the characters continue to use the internet. Like, they're just casually on social media pulling up, like, Twitter live streams of the invasion and stuff. So, like, what exactly did the aliens do? It doesn't matter. Who cares? They come up with a plan to destroy the aliens, and it is incomprehensible. Ice Cube's daughter is a biologist, same, and she's been working on some kind of vaccine or gene therapy or some type of thing that causes sick cells to destroy themselves. I'm assuming this is some kind of cancer research, but they don't really elaborate on it that much. So, get this. They are going to upload that vaccine into a flash drive. Stay with me. Put it onto one of the servers that the aliens eat, and that will kill all of the aliens, because DNA and computer code are very similar. Science. What does that mean? What does that mean? Is she, like, manually typing DNA sequences into a fucking Word document and they're gonna, like, upload that, and that would somehow have the same effect as, like, injecting them with a vial of that stuff? God, I wish that's how it worked. I wish I could just stick a flash drive in my fucking ear and update my DNA. And what do they mean DNA and computer code are very similar? Are you gonna elaborate on that at all? Like, I guess they're similar in the sense that, like, they're the things that contain the code that tells the larger system how to function, but that doesn't mean that they're, like, interchangeable. It's like saying that a human brain is similar to a computer. Like, it's just a useful analogy for how those things function. You can't open up your head, pop your brain out, and stick a laptop in there and go about your day. Like, just because they function in a theoretically similar way does not mean that one can be used to replace the other. It doesn't matter, I guess. There's no explanation as to what she's doing or how she's doing it. They upload the vaccine into the goddamn flash drive. But now, oh no, they have to get it all the way across town to where Ice Cube's office is. So what do you think happens? If you said that Ice Cube goes online, orders that flash drive from Amazon, and then his son-in-law puts on a VR headset and pilots an Amazon Prime drone across town to his office, then that would be a hell of a lucky guess, because that's exactly what happens. Thank God Ice Cube's son-in-law works for Amazon, so Amazon can save the day from the data-eating aliens. Amazon is truly the hero of protecting people's private information from the aliens, who are the only ones here that collect private data on people. Apparently Amazon didn't even help with this movie at all. Like, they didn't help write it, they didn't help produce it. This is fully the director and writer's creative choices for Amazon Prime to save the world. So Ice Cube has gotten the flash drive that contains the vaccine thanks to Amazon's quick and efficient delivery service. Shout out to them, they're the real heroes here. He plugs it into the server, it makes all the aliens explode or whatever. The happy ending, Ice Cube is now a great dad, and his family is super happy, and his kids love him. None of the characters who died along the way are ever mourned or even acknowledged again. And I guess Ice Cube has, like, gone rogue and quit his job to become a hacker or something. And it all ends on a Joe Rogan tweet where he's edited Ice Cube into a meme. I'm having an out-of-body experience. So what have we learned here? Well, I think the most valuable lesson here is that my data is the most valuable resource on Earth. And I cannot trust the government with this because they will feed it to aliens. The only person that I can trust with my very important JPEGs is Jeffrey Bezos. He would never eat your data, so you know that it's safe with him. He would never sit down with a fork and knife and a plate full of microchips, and you can't prove that he does that. So keep your data private from the government, tell Big Brother to fuck off, and give all of your data to Amazon so that Jeff Bezos can have it, not in his mouth, or any other orifice for that matter, and he will keep it out of the aliens' tentacles. I will see you next time, spaceship mates.